Hello, I'm David Hargreaves with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This is where you get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, including news the Federal Reserve is pushing on with efforts to stimulate the US economy through its monthly US $85 billion mortgage and treasury bond purchases. The Fed says unemployment remains too high. It released new economic forecasts trimming growth prospects for this year and next. The Fed now says its top estimate of growth this year is 2.8%, down from a previous forecast of 3%. The news sent Wall Street heading towards new all-time highs. And that news out of the US came as the emerging chaos in Europe continued to mount. Cypriot officials have said the country's banks, which were closed to prevent mass withdrawals, will remain shut until at least Tuesday, after Parliament overwhelmingly rejected the EU-IMF bailout plan. Overnight, the Cypriot cabinet began an emergency meeting to discuss alternatives, but the early word is that no agreement has been reached with international creditors. There's also been discussions with Russia over a loan. A lot of Russians, of course, have accounts in Cyprus. But there was no agreement after a first round of talks. Meanwhile, in Britain, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, has halved his forecast for UK economic growth this year to 0.6% from a previous 1.2%. He's also announced cuts to business taxes and strong new incentives for home buyers. He's also paved the way for potentially big changes at the Bank of England, asking the central bank's top policymakers to report back to him in August about the merits of setting intermediate thresholds for monetary policy. In South Korea, authorities are investigating a hacking attack that brought down the servers of 3 broadcasters and 2 major banks on Wednesday. The army raised its alert level due to concerns of North Korean involvement in the activity. Police and government officials have declined to speculate on whether North Korea, which has threatened to attack both South Korea and the United States after it was hit with the United Nations sanctions for its February nuclear test, was behind the hacking. Locally, much of the interest today is going to be on release of December quarter GDP figures at 10:45 a.m. The expectation is that our economy made a strong bounce back in the quarter. The average pick among economists is for a growth rate of 0.9%. Any figure that comes in higher than that might see wholesale interest rates and the Kiwi dollar blip up a little. But in the main, the markets are already looking ahead at the prospects for the first 2 quarters of this year, with mounting concern about what the current drought might do to economic growth in the immediate future. The Kiwi dollar today starts little changed at 82.3 US cents, 79.2 Australian cents, and the trade-weighted index is sitting at 75.7. I'm David Hargreaves, and that was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.